I'm John Brown, and I'm at Metal Guitar in Paris.
So the reason I started really wanting to do this, going on tour and playing guitar, was I watched the video of Bon Jovi, specifically wanted Dead or Alive, because they had a jet plane, and I was like,
in the name, I was like, I want that. Where's my jet plane now?
so yeah, Bon Jovi wanted Dead or Alive was pretty much the catalyst, but also Eric Clapton's Layla. I literally should play that song on repeat, which I'm actually doing tonight in the clinic. If you don't believe me, ask Ryan. Right, I'm repeating Layla over loads of on it.
Oh, yes, you are.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think Richie Sambora is a really underrated guitar player. I think he always wrote great songs, had great riffs, had great guitar solos, and really catchy. So yeah, it's like the soup of a really good song. Yeah. So the main thing was I was wanting to write music that I was really happy with. And before Monuments, like I didn't really write that much music. But after Fell Silent disbanded, which was my band before this one, I kind of had to step up to the table because then I became the only songwriter rather than the reinforcement of songwriting within Fell Silent. So the one thing that I just really wanted to do was write music I was really happy with, which, if you look at the first Monuments album to now, there's significantly more techniques. Whether or not that's a good thing, because some people prefer the first album, but for me, I think it's evolved in a way that's, I'm happy with how the songs turned out over the course of all the albums, for sure. So the way that I write is I write small motifs, so like small sections of music, like imagine, I'm gonna reference Layla again. That first lick of Layla, is like, that's like a motif in my head, like a really memorable piece of music. Like take a vocal line that gets stuck in your head. That's what I'm trying to do with like these little sections, really memorable movements and in really memorable rhythms. And then I'll piece loads of those together like a puzzle. And generally I'll have like 4 to 8 motifs per song and play them all in different orders in different parts of my scale, just trying to create music that sort of flows together naturally. So instead of thinking of a whole section, like a whole riff, like a verse as one riff, I'm like, well, I've got 4 sections that I can play in different orders and different places in order to make songs. And it's, it's something that I teach on my website. It's very similar to like film music. When a character theme is in the minor key, the character's sad. When the character theme is in major, happy. When it's in diminished, it's like mysterious. And you can pick up on all this stuff like, one good example is Jurassic World. Terrible movie, but when they go into the old visitor center in the middle of the movie, it plays the original Jurassic Park theme in the minor key on solo piano, and that's the part I love the most, was going back to 1993 when I was a kid and hearing this piece of music again in this context, and it was awesome. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. So I've just got my USA Custom Shocks from Schecter, which will be released in a few months. Unfortunately, Air France lost them. So waiting for them to arrive today, hopefully, before we go off to Dubai. But I've been using them. But as far as amps go, I've got the new Line 6 Helix Stadium XL here, which is an excellent unit, and I've just been using it on this clinic tour. For amps, I've got Soldado, I've got Hughes McKetner, I've got a 5150 for PV, Red 7 Leviathan, a Marshall Anniversary 6100 head. I have loads of different amps because I love tube amps. One of my most inspiring guitar players is a guitar player called Ron Jarzenbeck. And a lot of people wouldn't have heard of this guy. He played in a band in the 80s called Watchtower. He plays in a band called Blotted Science. He's played in another band called Spastic Inc. And his guitar playing is just insanely good, way ahead of everybody else, right? So that's one guitar player I'd love to pick his brain and collaborate with. Hans Zimmer, of course. I always talk about Hans Zimmer, but I think he's one of the best musical minds on the planet, and I'd love to be able to see what could come out of that collaboration with my staccato style playing, but one can dream. Another great musical mind is Mick Gordon, who did the soundtrack to Doom. He did the soundtrack to Killer Instinct. He did the Need for Speed. He's done, he's an absolute genius as well. So big up to Mick Gordon. One of the most horrible moments was actually 2 years ago when Sleep Token pulled out of their slot at Resurrection Festival. And we got offered it, and we took it. And the most unfortunate thing was playing after Meshuggah. No one plays after Meshuggah and survives. If anyone's seen Meshuggah live, it's like, it's one of those things, and it's just like, yeah. So that was memorable, probably not for the right reason. But I think with any sort of, when you find out that you've got something wrong with you, I think it can often deviate you away from the things that you enjoy in your life. But I'm quite lucky with my neck. So I got diagnosed with the same condition that Mick Mars of Motley Crue has. And whilst it sucks and it's frustrating, it's like I can still play my guitar, I can still walk, I can still do all the things that I want to, except look up. But yeah. You know, so I try to look at it from a more positive standpoint. Like, I try not to complain about it, you know what I mean? I just try and like be like, right, I just got to get on with it. Yeah, just even if something's bad, try and look at the positive in the fact that you can still do something. You know, it could always be much, much worse. You know, someone always has it worse than you. So if you can just be like, yeah, just get on with it. It's all right. It'll be fine, you know? Don't compare yourself to other musicians. Literally, like, if you think what you're doing is good and you stand by it, keep going with that. Don't scroll any of the social medias and think that guitar player is better than me, or that guitar player is better than me, or that musician's better than me. It's wasted energy, because it doesn't matter if you think that someone's better. It might end up being that thousands and thousands of people prefer your music. And that's all that matters, isn't it? It's like, does your music touch the hearts and souls of other people, if that's what you want to achieve? So don't compare that you wish that you wrote this riff or you wish that you wrote that song. Just get the fuck on with it. Write some music. Yeah, I think so. Like, it takes time to, like, the one thing that I think that we're all trying to do is create a sound that is uniquely us. You know what I mean? And that takes time. Like, you know, if you think about the musicians over the years that have had their own voice, the way you can literally, they'll play 3 notes and you know it's them. The Joe Satriani's, the Steve Vai's, the Ron Jarzenbecks. And then when you get to that point where you can literally play 3 notes and someone knows it's you, I think that you're onto the right track at that point, because that is really difficult to do. You've only got 12 notes to choose from, and they've been used so many times by so many different musicians that it's really hard to sound like you. So if you can get to a point where you can pinpoint that no one really sounds like this, that's a really good goal in my opinion. Difficult, but a good goal.
Thank you, Don, for being with us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mia. Thank you to Metal Guitar, thank you to Ryan, thank you to Schecter Guitars. Yeah, thank you very much.